So look, guys, before we kick this tier list off, can we just all agree that the live-action One Piece was about as good as a Netflix show could have been?
Obama, that's like the least controversial opinion I've heard since everyone unanimously agreed that Willem Dafoe was great in Spider-Man: No Way Home. I mean, like every single YouTuber out there has put out a video talking about, I don't know, how One Piece surprised them, or that while it may not be perfect, it essentially is.
Oh, so just because a show is popular means I'm not allowed to enjoy it? I didn't realize you were so edgy, Donald.
It's not edgy to question your unwavering positivity. You don't have any criticisms?
I'm not going to get into it now. It's obviously a topic for another video. Unless Joe has anything to say on it?
What's One Piece?
Fuck off.
I'm actually starting to think you're just a fucking troll now, Joe.
When I was a wee lad, growing up in Scotland within the Black, Hispanic, and Welsh communities, I actually was given one piece of warm apple pie by my Auntie Liam.
Fuck it.
I hate him.
What's up, you Giga Chads and Ultimate Champion Chatties? We're back to bring you a nostalgia-filled tier list.
That's right. Light up your bongs, grab a Jack Daniels and some Cadbury's chocolates, because we're about to go in deep on ranking some GameCube games.
I love the Game Gear 64.
Apologies about Joe. He's really started to lose it lately.
Yeah, I had the Ultimate Black Edition of the Game Gear 65, which came with an HD remaster of Woody Woodpecker 3D, the biggest selling game of 1938.
Obama, can you give this guy a hit on that blunt? It really evens him out.
Sure thing, my man. Now listen, guys. We didn't play every single GameCube game. We weren't millionaires, you know?
Very true.
We had to save up pocket money and wait for birthdays and shit to get games. Just like you guys.
Plus, I was buying PS2 games at the same time.
I mean, you couldn't even really commit to all the games unless you could afford more than one memory card.
Are you sure you don't need a new memory card, Sleepy Joseph?
Nah, man, that blunt has reawakened the beast, and now I'm ready to go hard on this GameCube tier list.
All right, I'm gonna fucking start with Metroid Prime.
That's definitely a rare golden Chad. That shit was legendary.
True. It really showed off the massive jump from the N64 to the GameCube. Having played a load of GoldenEye and then stepping into this world blew the fucking shoes off my huge-ass feet. It was so immersive.
It gave you a great sense of claustrophobia, if I remember correctly. I haven't played it since it came out. Shit, when was that? It can't be 20 years.
Hang on, I'm just Binging it.
Joe, you use Bing over Google?
What in the ever-living fuck is Bing? Anyway, I just used Firefox search to find out, yeah, Metroid Prime came out in 2002.
Holy fuck, I'm old.
I've been meaning to pick up the remaster on the Switch, but it kind of grinds my nuts thinking about buying it for like, what, 40 or 50 bucks? That shit should be free.
Sure, okay. Let's move on to SSX Tricky. If I remember, I actually had this game on the PS2, and it might have only been a demo.
I remember enjoying it, and I liked the use of Run DMC in the soundtrack.
Yeah, honestly, that track is synonymous with that game to me now.
Fucking banger.
And I remember enjoying, like, spinning in the air and shit, but otherwise, it hasn't been a game I've thought about, let alone wanted to play again.
I'm going to vote we place it in the fairly above mid category, as we all seem to have positive memories of it.
Sure.
Okay, and next up, how about we discuss a bit of a controversial one? I'm talking about Star Fox Adventures.
Here's my hot fucking take. It's the best Star Fox game.
Are you out of your fucking tree?
I loved it.
Imbecile.
It was like a Zelda game packaged up with dinosaurs and spaceships. Who wouldn't fucking love it?
I enjoyed the female fox.
Everyone liked her, Joe, but Obama seems to be forgetting that the game wasn't even developed as a Star Fox game to begin with. It shifted the genre from space shooter to third-person adventure, only employing the R-ing in a very limited fashion. Plus, it was repetitive as fuck. Comparing it to Zelda is like comparing apple juice to dog piss, so you can fuck off. This game was mid at the very best.
I don't care about all that. The younger me was captivated by the world and storytelling. I'd give it a P for pretty fucking good.
I'm going to suggest you guys agree to sit it in there just above mid. You both raise fair points, but let's just face facts. The Star Fox games have always been a bit mid. It's just the design of Fox and Falco which carries the brand. There's a reason they never make good Star Fox games. It's because Star Fox games just aren't good.
Shit, he's right.
Star Fox games could be good if they tried a bit harder.
Listen to me, champ. It doesn't matter how hard they work on them. They will never be top-tier Nintendo games.
That's a tough truth to hear, but I guess that's why they call you Biden the Wise. Anyway, let's talk about a top G.
Donkey Konga?
Never played it.
No, I'm talking about the realest shit. A game so fucking chattedly robust that people are still playing it today.
Melee?
Yeah, boys. Smash Bros. Melee. The truest of top-tier games. A genre unto itself. An epic achievement in the history of gaming. This game had everything. All the top gaming characters from Nintendo, Link, Mario, DK, Pikachu, you name it. Plus, there were endless items, levels, and songs to choose from. For a Nintendo fan, it was like going on holiday into Nintendo Land. It was like a fucking fantasy, getting to put your favorite characters against one another. 4-player, multiplayer, a challenging and fun single-player experience. It was so fucking dope.
Plus a never-ending skill cap. I used to play for hours by myself, just grinding and grinding against level 9 bots, training. I didn't know what for. I just knew I had to train. I was like Goku in the hyperbolic time chamber. That's what it felt like anyway. Ah, to be young again.
Shit, yeah, son. I got really good at Yoshi. Did you know he can swallow up his enemies if you press B?
Yes, I knew that, Joe.
And then, in the burgeoning online world, there was the site Smashboards, where you could read about glitches and techniques. When I learned to wave dash, and then later, the super wave dash, it was like I'd been handed down some ancient forbidden knowledge of the gods. Like Goku learning the Kamehameha from Master Roshi. There was just so much depth to the game.
I also loved the speed of the game.
It was very speedy.
It was quick, it was slick, it gave me a hard dick. I would have played Smash Bros. Forever if they hadn't purposefully made future games so much slower. It's like, imagine you could run pretty fast.
I'm imagining it now.
You know, you're an athletic dude, then one day you like have an accident and you break your legs. That's what it feels like playing Brawl and Ultimate. Never the same.
Fucking Sakurai!
You watch your mouth when you're talking about my sweet Sakurai. He's the GOAT. If you ever did a thing 1/1000th as good as him, you'd still just be a tiny, worthless piece of shit.
You're right, I'm sorry.
It's okay, dude. We're all works in progress.
Look, there's just no question that Melee was and is childhood defining.
Fuck yeah, brother.
I spent hundreds of hours playing with my homies, and I make sure I play for 5 hours every night with Michelle.
That's very sweet.
She plays a pretty solid Luigi.
You know, I'm not surprised. She's got a lot in common with Luigi. Yeah, well, I can't sing this game's praises enough. Let's just move on to rate a game which will inevitably be much, much worse.
Well, don't speak too soon. F-Zero GX was a pretty legendary title in the Gamecube catalog.
That game gave me headaches.
Why? Was it too fast for you?
No, just Hunter used to smash me in the head with it when I made him do his chores.
Look, I loved this game. It was fast, vibrant, and had a fucking banger soundtrack.
Sure did.
It's a shame Nintendo aren't making new ones, but I kind of see why. Back then, the Gamecube was actually a fucking powerful console. Probably had the best looking games on it, and F-Zero really stood out. Whereas nowadays, it wouldn't look so impressive compared to the other consoles.
It's not about graphics. Nintendo just adds more and more maps to Mario Kart and don't give a shit about F-Zero. I agree, though, that it was a great game. I'd probably rate it a rare golden Chad.
I'd say it was more of a P for pretty fucking good. I mean, yeah, it's rare, it's golden, and it's chatted, but, you know, it's just, I guess, limited by virtue of being a racing game.
Are you going to cite that as a weakness when we come to Double Dash?
Well,
Of course you're fucking not, Slick. This game is a rare golden Chad. The end.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Final Fantasy. Crystal Chronicles was a huge fucking disappointment for me. I loved Final Fantasy. I'd played 7 at least. I don't actually remember which others were out when this punk-ass game came out. I wanted a traditional JRPG, and this shit was God. It wasn't that.
Well, isn't that a matter of your own expectations getting in the way of your enjoyment?
Yeah, I mean, I guess Square Enix was trying to innovate the genre.
No. If you put Final Fantasy on the box, then I'm gonna goddarn expect a Final Fantasy game when I put the disc in the fucking console. They had a brand built on certain laurels, and they decided to change their shit up with this game, wasting my fucking pocket money and all but ruining my life. This shit, I don't care if it's technically a good game. It fucked with me, and for that, it's going into shit tier.
Man, that game really fucked you over, dude.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry that happened to you.
It's okay. I eventually got over it when I got my hands on Skies of Arcadia.
Now, that was a fucking game, boys. Skies of Arcadia was the JRPG the GameCube needed.
It gave Final Fantasy VII a run for its money.
Oof.
Don't suck its ass too much, Joe. You'll spoil it.
There were flying fucking pirate ships, dude.
It was a good game, I remember loving it, but don't even suggest for a second it was anywhere near as iconic and legendary as FF7, you piece of shit.
Skies of Arcadia had great characters.
Then fucking name one.
Yikes.
That's unfair. It was a long time ago.
Not trying to dunk on you, Joe. Just proving a point that no matter how fondly you think you remember the game, if you literally can't remember a character's name, It can't have been that amazing.
I think that's unfair, dude. That game was fun as fuck. It's a rare golden Chad for sure.
I don't know, dude. Seems a bit of an inflation. I'd say it's low P rating myself.
Fine. I think it's just above mid, but I'll go up a bit.
So kind of you.
Now here's my big confession.
Here we go.
I've never played Luigi's Mansion.
Whoa.
Dude, I haven't either. If I'm being real, which I always am, I always thought it just looked like a shitty little kid's game, not worth playing.
You frickin' dick. You couldn't be more wrong.
Who the fuck says frickin'?
I frickin' do. That shit was atmospheric as fuck, and it had great puzzle solving. Not to mention, it gave Luigi his own thing. You know what I mean?
Luigi already has a thing. He's Mario's lanky brother. What more could he need?
How about a game of his own? How about purpose? A reason to live?
Well, he doesn't need more sex appeal. That lean green fucking machine got it all.
True.
Can't argue with that, brother.
Well, as you wannabe Sigma males haven't played the game, I'm going to take the presidential choice of placing it right up here.
Fine. I can't argue as I never played it, but maybe some Chads will let us know if Sleepy Joe is right about this game in the comments, while they also subscribe, put the bell on, and pour themselves their next Jack Daniels. This video is going to be a long one, Chads.
Okay, you know what? I'm just going to take this Prince of Persia game and put it down in mid. I know for a fact that I owned it, probably bought it for like 40 bucks, and 20 years ago that was expensive. And for all of that, I only have the most vague memory of kind of enjoying it, but whilst playing it, knowing within my soul that it was just a mid-as-shit game, barely worth putting Smash Brothers down
Fair
for.
assessment, dude.
Maybe if we played it again, we'd find it was actually pretty lit.
When's a Prince of Persia game actually ever been lit?
I'm pretty sure there's been like one good one.
You're just wrong.
Anyway, now we've decided that Prince of Persia games are all extremely mid and not worth buying. Let's talk about the often spoken about Beautiful Joe.
I swear people in YouTube comments and Reddit and shit are always bigging it up.
Listen up.
Go on, get cooking.
Beautiful Joe was a real hoot back in the day for a bunch of reasons. First off, it had this groovy comic book look that really made it stand out. It used cell shading, which was a pretty fucking innovative and new effect at the time. Then, the way you could mess with time and zoom in on the action was like nothing else. And let me tell you, it wasn't no walk in the park. This game had some real meat to it. You had to get good to make it through. Plus, it gave a tip of the hat to all them classic action flicks, which was a blast for any movie buff. And those characters, especially our main man Joe, they had real heart.
Yeah, it's pretty much all true. It was a spectacle of a game.
For real.
Very exciting and cool. Definitely a rare golden Chad in my book.
Fine. Boys, I think it's time we discuss a true work of art.
The Charlie's Angels game?
Fuck, no. That was terrible shit. Although I always did really want to have sex with what's her name?
Drew Barrymore?
Yuck. No, the Asian chick.
Lucy Liu?
No, the other Asian chick.
There isn't another Asian chick in that movie.
What the fuck are you talking about?
The third angel was played by Cameron Diaz, you stupid son of a bitch.
That's it. She's the one I'm talking about.
She's not fucking Asian.
How do you know? Did you ask to see her passport too?
God, not this
Boys, look, let's just put Charlie's Angels in the shit tier and move on to a piece of art, just like you said, Obama. Which game were you referring to?
You're right, Joe. Although Cameron Diaz is Asian. But regardless, I was talking about what is not only one of the top Gamecube games, but one of the best Nintendo games of all time.
Pikmin?
Absolutely fucking not. I'm talking about the Wind Waker.
You got a problem with Pikmin?
Oh, we'll get to that later. The Wind Waker took the Zelda formula and revamped it by bringing it to the ocean.
A very solid choice by Miyamoto-san.
The graphical style was unfairly, and I mean very unfairly, criticized at launch, but in hindsight, I think everyone has to agree that it's an older Zelda title that fucking holds up.
Preach that shit.
Because it had exceptional art direction.
That's undeniable. Ocarina of Time was truly the founding father of the open world RPG in my mind. It laid so much groundwork for future games, not just future Zeldas. I will forever be thankful for Ocarina, but what Wind Waker did was to take that freedom, that smooth game feel, and that charm, and it dialed it up, not just to 11, but to fucking 14. The charm of this game is unmatched by most shit, especially some of the newer Zeldas. It was a happy place to leave in for a while, and I can honestly say it's up there as one of my favorite games of all time.
I think it also had one of the sweetest soundtracks. I fucking loved sailing across the ocean to that.
Dragon Roost Island.
Fuck
Oh
yeah,
shit,
brother.
son, that's a banger.
That Spanish guitar and the melody should have got an Emmy.
Hell yeah.
Better than most modern music.
So we're all agreed, it's a game which defined our childhoods, or, you know, our middle ages, Or in the case of Joe, your old age.
Hey, I'm still a spring chicken.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it's obviously up there with Smash, but I'd argue that it goes below it. Reason being that Smash Melee truly pushed the console to its maximum potential, you know? The thing had a handle on the back. It was supposed to be carried from house to house for sleepovers and multiplayer action.
That's a fucking good point. Plus, Smash Brothers Melee has had a life after its console became obsolete. That game is truly worthy of the entire facial tattoo I am planning on getting.
Oh, dope. What you getting, dude?
Oh, thanks for asking, man.
Hey, bro, no problem. I like to check in with my boys about their major life decisions.
Yeah, this weekend I'm going to get the character select screen from Smash Bros. Melee tattooed across my whole face, including one of the little hands on top of my mane, Jigglypuff.
That actually sounds like a really good idea.
Thanks, mate.
It will probably boost your chances of becoming next president.
No doubt about it.
It'll definitely boost votes in the 55 to 98-year-old demographic. Those guys love Smash Brothers tattoos.
Don't I know it? Anyway, I have to agree, The Wind Waker is an epic game with slightly less cultural relevance than Smash, but nonetheless a terrific game and one I still love to this day.
God bless you, Nintendo.
Oh, he's awake.
Shit, yes, son. And I woke up to remind you about the Master Quest, included with Wind Waker free of fucking charge. Imagine if Nintendo gave us a port or a remaster for free today. That would never fucking happen.
They were better times. Games released in good working order, zero DLC, no patches, no updates, not even a fucking install. You just put the disc in and it worked.
You bet your ass it did. Companies took pride in releasing the best games they could make.
Yeah, the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox era, followed by the PS3, 360, and Wii, were a real golden era for games.
Stop, you'll make me cry.
It was a more simple time. The game itself was the product. There were no services.
Ah, man.
If you wanted to buy packs, you had to play a trading card game or something.
Dude, stop. It hurts me to remember the glory days of my youth.
We can never go back.
Yeah, I wasn't addicted to Instagram then.
Can we move on? What were we even talking about?
Just how Nintendo used to be so sweet that they gave away a special disc including Ocarina of Time and the Master Quest with Wind Waker.
So, Chadley,
Those games are goated.
Totally.
Obviously childhood defining,
Massively.
though more because of the N64 than the re-release.
Obviously.
But who cares? It's all fucking chatted and belongs up there.
yes, true. Now, how do you guys feel about Twilight Princess?
I never really finished it.
I'm glad you said so, Joe, because neither did I. I got pretty fucked off as soon as I turned into a wolf and realized they were trying to reimagine the franchise again by making it darker. Those fuckers at Nintendo got scared by the criticisms of Wind Waker being too cute and the low sales of the GameCube compared to the PS2. And let's be honest, when we say that Nintendo did get absolutely fucked in the a-hole by Sony, but they got so fucking scared that they thought they needed to make another Dark Zelda game. Guess what?
What?
They didn't.
Oh.
The Wii sold like cocaine because old grannies like playing tennis. That Zelda didn't do it for me. And I'm sorry if anyone out there listening has a special place in their hearts for this one, but honestly, it's probably because you were like 9 when you got a Wii, and this was your first Zelda, or you never had good internet and couldn't play World of Warcraft at the time. This was when Zelda became irrelevant to me.
I think the fact that you're referring to it as a Wii game speaks a lot about this one. Yeah, it was on the GameCube, but nobody played it there. This game was mid. Sorry, I know it was a pretty decent game overall, but I also think it's a low point for Zelda, like Skyward Sword, retreading too much old shit without enough innovation. Slightly above mid might feel low for a Zelda game, but I don't give a fuck.
I think we're going to get a lot of salty comments about this one, boys.
Good. I like a little bit of salt in my wounds.
Fucking sicko.
And trust me, I got wounded by Zelda and Nintendo during that transition from GameCube to Wii.
Me too, bud. It felt like they gave up competing. Sure, it was a part of their business strategy. I understand all that as I'm pretty good at business, but it still hurt. Nintendo had always been the top dog, and seeing them crumble like that hurt me. What was even worse was how successful the Wii was, pushing them into continuing to produce underpowered systems.
You get me, bro. Anyway, where did we get to? I guess we're going to put it at least as fairly above mid, but shit, that game left a bad taste in my mouth. But let's move on.
How about some Tales of Symphonia?
Okay, let me tell you a really shit story. One time I bought that game after seeing it at the local game store. I thought, Tales of Symphonia sounds like Skies of Arcadia. But when I got home, it wasn't as good. It was fine, just not as good as Skies. Sorry. I told you it was going to be a shit story.
That was shit.
I did say that.
But yeah, I had this one. And I can't really remember much except that I probably liked it. Let's put it in a probably undeserved mid.
People can comment to tell us why it deserves better.
Well, they could if it did, but it doesn't.
Mario Strikers Football?
Fun game.
Yeah, without any of the Nintendo magic, I'd put it in mid.
Let's give it a little better than that. I had a blast on this with my homies after work.
Fine. I'm not married to a score. It was a fun game, just, not as good as most of Nintendo's offerings.
Well, it was a heck of a lot better than any Mario Party game I've ever played.
I hate Mario Party. Those games are so cheap and boring. They're all shit in my extremely humble opinion.
You can't seriously both hate the Mario Party games. They're so fun.
They're about as fun as hopscotch at Sunday school.
Yeah, Barry. Come on, if even I find them boring, they can't be that great.
Joe, you thought One Punch Man was boring, so I don't trust your shit anymore.
Seems a bit unfair to blanket every Mario Party game with the same shit rating, but I don't give a fuck about them, so do whatever you want to do.
Just put Mario Party 4 in mid, would you, Barry?
Nah, son. This game was fun. The mini games in it were sweet, plus the graphics were excellent. It's above mid for sure.
Can we just move on? I want to talk about one of the launch titles, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2.
Ooh, now that's a banger.
Yeah, back in the good old days before Disney got their shitty hands on the franchise.
This game was impressive. As a launch title, it really showed off just how much of a beast the GameCube was going to be.
Yeah, man. It was like stepping into the Star Wars universe. There was a good variety of missions, great intuitive controls, and overall, it was just a fucking nice game to get for Christmas.
Agreed. It was pretty fucking good.
So true. Now, what about Mario Party 5?
Oh, man, not Mario Party again?
I don't know, with 5, 6, and 7, they all just blend together in my head.
Just put them all in mid and be done with it, for Christ's sake.
Don't be hasty.
FFS.
There are very notable differences between these games, and
They're all going in mid so we can talk about Paper Mario, the fucking 1,000-year door.
there's no fucking debate. This was one of the most peak games on the system.
Fuck yes.
The art style was insanely good, the story was entertaining, and the combat system was fluid and amazing. Why they ever strayed from this game design for the future. Paper Mario games both astounds and angers me. This is top-tier shite.
Yeah, it's dope. And I love how it really gave voices to the characters in the Mario universe who are usually mute. It fleshed out the world I had loved for so long and gave the characters actual character.
I'd put it just slightly behind Wind Waker as one of the top games of Nintendo's roster, not just on the GameCube, but on every fucking console. This is a top 10er. Or maybe top 20, I don't know. I'll have to make a list sometime.
Okay, so what are we saying about Pikmin? I hate it, but I know a lot of people out there love it, so I'm here to be convinced.
Picture this, a cosmic gardener crash landing on an alien world, rallying an army of adorable plant-like creatures. It's not just a game, it's an odyssey of strategy, teamwork, and heart. Pikmin taught us the value of cooperation, problem solving, and, dare I say, the beauty in unconventional friendships. It's a testament to the magic of Nintendo, a company that weaves wonders in every pixel.
Compelling? You weave an epic yarn, good sir.
I've got to agree, that charming game is a rare golden chad. And Pikmin 2 is even better.
I'll go with the consensus on this one. It just wasn't for me. But I know it is near and dear to many a grown man's heart.
Nice. Now let's talk Phantasy Star Online, a game which was truly ahead of its time.
Phantasy Star Online on the GameCube, man, that was a frickin' blast. It's like they took all the best bits of RPGs and threw them into this online space adventure. The action was slick as hell. Slicing through monsters and bosses was just so damn satisfying. Teaming up with buddies online was a game changer, too. I remember this one time we were on this crazy hard quest, facing this mega tough dragon boss. It felt like a real-life heist, man, strategizing our moves, covering each other's backs. And let's not forget the loot, finding rare weapons and gear. That's like gamer gold, my dude. PSO brought the goods, giving us an epic co-op experience that still sticks with me. It's a classic for a damn good reason.
Sounds great. I just wish Michelle would have let me use the internet back then.
You missed out, dude. This game was defo a rare golden chad and greased me up to get addicted to World of Warcraft a few years later.
Sweet. Now, how's about Super Monkey Ball?
It was a great party game. I remember getting completely shit-faced with George Bush and having a few games back in the day.
Yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun.
Let's go with an easy P ranking.
And another great third-party game from that era was Time Splitters 2. It took the 4-player split screen I'd fallen in love with on the N64 with GoldenEye and pushed the fun factor up. It had crazy characters, fun rule sets, and actually good controls, unlike GoldenEye.
Oh yeah, man, that game was epic as fuck. Put it in pretty fucking good.
I'd call it a rare golden CHAD.
It wasn't that good, bro. Now, what about Crazy Taxi?
Crazily mid, Taxi.
Yeah, I never gave a shit about it.
Fine, it's mid then. What about The Simpsons Hit and Run?
More like mid and run.
Can you stop that?
In defense of Simpsons Hit and Run, it was pretty fucking cool to drive around Springfield and interact with the Simpsons characters. A lot of youngsters might not understand just how fucking iconic and important The Simps was back in the day, and I did have a lot of fun with that game, though it's by no means amazing or anything.
Yeah, I remember it being a real love letter to the world of The Simpsons.
Simps.
I'm going to put it above mid, out of respect for the top G of a show that was the 90s and early 2000s Simpsons.
Let's talk about an actually chatted game now, please. I'm talking DBZ Budokai 1.
Dude, now you're talking about some real fucking shit.
No shit, dude.
Pretty sure this was my first DBZ game, and man, did it go big.
You bet your ass it did.
Amazing story mode where you got to play through the events of the show.
Pretty sure that like 90% of the DBZ games do that, but that's not a bad thing.
It was a truly realistic Dragon Ball experience.
Well, yeah, man. Plus, it had customizable movesets, awesome stages, and unlockables. That shit was goated.
Well, of course it's goated. It's a near-perfect recreation of Akira Toriyama's perfect vision.
I always loved how you could beat the shit out of extremely top-tier characters like Goku or Cell with Mr. Satan. I mean, obviously, it's totally unrealistic, but still a fun thing to do.
Hercule is a literal Giga Chad.
I loved all the Budokai games, especially as when they were releasing, it was pre-YouTube and pre-streaming. You needed to, like, actually watch shit on TV, or if you were really lucky, your mom or wife would buy you the VHS tapes of the series. But those were expensive. So having a game of a show or movie you liked was a way to experience the world, which we don't really need to do so much anymore.
That was a very cogent thought, Joe. Impressive for a guy with such an aging brain.
Thanks. I'll take 2 scoops of the raspberry, please.
I guess I spoke too soon.
Look, there's no way it's in the same league as these top tiers, but it was a fucking great game, so it definitely gets a high ranking. I'm thinking right about here, as a rare golden Chad.
That's fair. Few games could ever really compete with a Nintendo first-party game. They're kind of overpowered, a bit like Hercule's Satan.
Okay, can we talk about Kirby's Air Ride? I had it and thought it was pretty decent.
Never played it.
Kirby's Mid-Ride. Honestly, who the fuck wants to play a racing game based around Kirby? Kirby is cool in Smash Brothers, but his games, while charming enough, always lacked a certain je ne sais quoi.
Fine, it's going in mid because I trust Donald's opinions on Kirby more than you, Joe.
Big surprise?
Well, he did write his master's thesis on Kirby. What was the title again, Donald?
It was a PhD, and the title was Transcendent Consumption, a semiotic analysis of Kirby's absorption mechanisms and intertextual symbolism.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you're literally a professor of Kirby studies.
Yes, and I just dropped this banger. It's called Axiomatic Analysis of Existential Crisis, Kirby as an epistemological probe into the nature of self-identity.
It just sounds like you used ChatGPT to generate outlandish pseudo-intellectual titles for Kirby-based PhD theses.
I would never do such a thing.
Okay, it's mid, so let's talk about the primo racing game of the Gamecube, Mario Kart, Double Dash.
It's incredible.
Yes, it's a fucking good game.
Talk me through it.
It broke the
introduced a
mold by
dual
introducing a
character system,
pioneering
allowing
dual-character
players
system,
to switch between two
enabling
racers.
players
Boys,
Yeah?
What the fuck's the problem?
one at a time.
Okay, so it obviously had a massive graphical leap from the N64 game, and that enough was fucking impressive. Plus, the game introduced the two-driver system. Choosing 2 characters was way more fun than just picking one. It introduced a bit of strategy because each character had their own special item. Then, of course, the handling of the cars, to me, was the best the franchise has ever felt.
Agreed. It felt a lot more, I don't know how to say it, like tangible than the new Mario Kart game. I wonder if anyone else feels like that with Mario Kart 8, like you're not really there. Something to do with map design or controls or something I can't quite put my finger on.
I know what you mean.
Well, that really makes me feel better, dude.
But let me just go ahead and say that I love Double Dash because of the maps. It had some bangers.
Baby fucking Park.
Baby Park was the best shit.
Fuck yes, and I love DK Mountain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and Yoshi Circuit and Peach Beach.
Fuck yeah.
Shit, there's just so many.
And can I mention the music? From the title screen to the individual map tracks, that shit was lit as fuck, dude.
Well, it obviously belongs in the legendary Chad Zone, probably just below Wind Waker. I mean, maybe. They're such different games. But these 3 right here, Smash, Zelda, and Double Dash, are my triforce of power on this console. Some of the greatest games of all time.
Yeah, dude. They were all very impactful in my life, and Michelle always talks about Double Dash.
Well, that's nice.
She loved playing as Petey Piranha and King Boo.
Adorable.
Now look, there's a few more games we need to talk about. Obviously, we aren't going to get through every GameCube game, so viewers out there, I'm sorry if we miss one of your favorites, but let's talk about a very special game for me. Odama.
What?
Just kidding. I've never heard of the game Odama, but it's just funny because it sounds like...
Obama, very clever.
Yes, thanks, dude. No, what I really want to talk about is Soul Calibur 2.
Now that was a Chad game right there.
Yes, sir. That was my favorite fighting game outside of Smash Brothers. I never really played Tekken too much. I loved Street Fighter II on the Super Nintendo, but Soul Calibur was just a quality game with great controls and a wealth of varied characters and playstyles. Plus, the GameCube included Link as a playable character, which was awesome.
A game for kings.
I always liked how the announcer was constantly spitting lines about fate and destiny and shit like that, and I'd always skip him talking, but I was glad he was there.
My favorite characters were Yoshimitsu, Talim, and oh shit, who was the guy with the nunchucks?
Maxie.
Oh yeah, my sweet little Maxie. I'd be button bashing with him and flipping around and spinning those nunchucks so unpredictably, it was great fun.
I always used to just block over and over again and then do the run-into slide kick to knock people out of the ring. So funny.
Oh yeah, and you always had to jump in after them so that in the replay, you'd see yourself suicide jump every single time.
Yeah, buddy.
Now that was funny.
There's a lot more I could mention about this game. How Taki had those enormous titties, for instance.
Don't mention Taki, dude. I'll have to go jerk off.
Same. Look, it was obviously a sick game. I'm going to suggest it goes right up here. What do you say?
That's fair.
Very respectable.
Great. Now, let's talk about one of my personal favorites, though not necessarily on the GameCube.
What's that?
Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes.
Dude, I love those games. They're obviously very important in video game history. The way they made games for cinematic and mature. I swear to God, when I first played them, I had no fucking idea what the story was about, but I loved it anyway.
I think MGS1 is pretty easy to follow, but it started getting a bit more complex after that. I mean, Snake Eater is my favorite, but this remake of MGS1 on the GameCube was pretty fucking epic. I know a lot of people had some issues with it, but I just loved the enhanced graphics and the fact I could play it on my GameCube. The voice acting was amazing as always. David Hayter, if you're listening.
He's not.
If you're listening, I love you. You are Snake.
I'd argue that this series was indeed childhood defining. I mean, this port of the original might not especially be the one which achieved that. It came from the Konami on the PlayStation. You know, it's iconic for the PlayStation brand, but you can't talk about this game and the impact it had on all of us and tell me it doesn't belong up there.
I'm with you on that. It's an important game, one everyone should play, and thankfully they're about to release the Master Collection on the Switch, so I might just have to play through that original trilogy.
How are you going to have time to play all that while you're running for president and getting indicted all the time?
Let's just say I'm hoping they send me to jail for a few months so I can catch up on my Switch backlog. I still haven't finished Vampire Survivors.
Good idea, dude. Maybe I could get a bit of jail time, too, so I can just lie down for a few minutes.
Okay, we're going to have to go get some pizzas in from Domino's in a minute. In fact, can someone call down to Jeffrey so he can order them? I'm starving.
Don't worry, sir. There's 9 pizzas already on the way.
Fucking nice one, mate. So yeah, let's just rank one final game. I'm sure you already know what it is.
Hey guys, oh shit, did I miss the tier list?
Oh, hey, Johnny. Didn't hear you come in.
Yeah, you missed it.
Dang it.
Although we've got pizzas on the way.
Sweet.
And we're about to talk about Super Mario Sunshine. If you'd like to give us your opinion on it.
I want to preface this by acknowledging that opinions on games can be highly subjective, and many people hold Mario Sunshine in high regard.
Yeah, you be careful with whatever the fuck you're about to say.
For me, Mario Sunshine took a departure from the classic Mario formula
True enough.
with the introduction of FLUDD, which, while innovative, felt like a significant shift.
I wasn't a fan.
Personally, I found it altered the core Mario gameplay in a way that didn't align with my preferences.
Interesting.
The platforming challenges and missions involving water physics added an extra layer of complexity, which I sometimes found frustrating as I leaned towards a more straightforward approach to platformers. Additionally, there were moments when the camera controls proved to be a source of frustration, particularly in precision-focused sections or confined spaces, leading to unintended mishaps.
Oh yeah, no, that definitely happened.
The collection of blue coins, while offering an added challenge, felt somewhat tedious to me, deviating from the streamlined progression seen in other Mario titles. But, you know, these are just thoughts off the top of my head.
Well, that's fair enough. For me, I just suck the dick of mainline Mario games. They are like the main game of a Nintendo console, you know? They're the essential game for each console. Mario 1, 2, and 3, Mario World, Mario 64, they were all super important and groundbreaking games. And Sunshine...
That's the problem. Sunshine wasn't as important. It wasn't revolutionary.
Real talk.
And it was also the flagship game for an underperforming console. It was a rough time for Nintendo. You know, Sony had popped off. Mario wasn't the system seller he used to be.
You're such a Sunshine hater.
No, I'm not. I enjoyed the game. I just recognized that it wasn't quite as special as the games that came before it. It's a good game. Of course. It's just not chatted. I'm sorry.
Who the fuck are you to determine what's chatted?
Donald, don't take it personally. He's speaking facts. Sunshine is a decent game, but it wasn't the one.
Have you no loyalty?
Only loyalty to the truth. This game is pretty fucking good.
No!
That's not even a bad rank.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking good, really.
Fuck it, I'm ordering McDonald's.
Great. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Remember to drop a comment to let us know your favorites.
Yeah, and let us know where our opinions were incorrect.
I'm gonna go get some pizza and maybe go look up some Soul Calibur Rule 34.
Great idea. I'm going to look at some Cervantes porn.
Yeah, and with that, we're gone. Thanks again, you golden chatteroos.